Hi everyone! Today we're talking about the ESTP personality type and the Enneagram types that are most commonly associated with the ESTP. We will also be looking at how these different pairings of ESTP and different Enneagram types work together and what the differences between them are. More specifically, I'm going to be talking about types 3, 7, and 8, and then I'm going to give an honorable mention to type 6. So all about that in the next few minutes. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. So similarly to the ENTP, I would say that ESTP is very much or very often associated in a way or another with types 3, 7, and 8. Either as their dominant or core type, or as a type that is part of their tri-type, of their main three. I think almost all ESTPs that I know in real life, not online, are 3, 7, or 8, or they have a certain combination of these three types in their tri-type, like a 3, 7, 8, or an 8, 7, 3, or something like that. Probably 8 is the most common Enneagram type for ESTP, so I'm going to start with that. ESTP 8s are probably a more like domineering version of the ESTP. Because ESTPs are control types if we look at the interaction style theory by Linda Burns. And then when you bring the Enneagram 8 energy, 8 is also called the challenger, you will often find a person that to the outside world appears to be a bit dominant and perhaps also a bit intimidating. ESTPs 8, in my perspective, are extremely good at managing because they find it easy to externalize specific goals and rules and things like that with a group of people to kind of help the group move forward. So oftentimes you will find them in some sort of a leadership or managerial position, either formally or informally, where they take charge, they take control, and they make sure things are being done. That, people kind of apply things, move forward, that the group achieves the result. And of course, some of these are typical characteristics of the in charge or control interaction style. But I would say that the 8 Enneagram type as a core type kind of enhances this energy and makes it even more visible, more obvious. And I would also say that ESTPs 8, especially when they mature and work with themselves for a longer period of time, they can use their FE child in a way that becomes very caring and supportive of other people. We know that Enneagram 8 integrates towards Enneagram 2, which means that in terms of health and integration and development, Enneagram 8 takes some of the characteristics of Enneagram 2, so it becomes more focused on helping other people, supporting other people emotionally, meeting other people's needs, caring for others. And this also means that the ESTP will perhaps integrate, I'm not sure if this is the best word, but perhaps integrate that FE child, extroverted feeling function. So from a more dominant and pushy personality, they might kind of mellow down and become even more caring and supportive of the people they love the most. Then I would say ESTP Enneagram 7 is another really typical pairing because we find Enneagram 7 as very, very often associated with EP types, SC hero or NE hero type. So the ESTP 7, I would say, is a slightly more positive type because 7 together with 2 and 9 is a positive outlook type in the Enneagram. This means that Enneagram 7 has a tendency to prioritize positive feelings, to focus on the bright side, on things that make them happy and excited, and perhaps to sometimes not want to deal with their negative feelings. So when paired up with the ESTP, I would say that we find someone who's slightly more optimistic, less emotionally reactive as compared to the Enneagram 8. And perhaps because of this combination might appear to be less domineering and less intimidating than the ESTP 8 that I was talking about earlier. Also, I would say that ESTP 7 is also more likely to get very easily excited about things that they might want to do. So pairing up that extroverted sensing that is constantly scanning the environment for tangible opportunities, for things to try, for things to experience. We also bring the Enneagram 7 energy that makes the person very likely to want to try out all of these new things with excitement, with enthusiasm. I'm not saying that other ESTPs do not have this aspect, but it is probably the most enhanced when we find this pairing of ESTP and Enneagram 7. And then if you look at the Enneagram 3 ESTP, this one is perhaps a slightly more chameleonic version of the ESTP. Oftentimes I find that these people might mistype as ENTJs or ENTPs because of their tendency to find it easier to change their personality to kind of fit with what is expected of them. Because Enneagram 3, also known as the achiever, is a type that excels at tweaking their image in a way that seems good for their audience, for the people that they're interacting with, for their coworkers, clients, family, friends, whatever. And because of this, I would say that probably ESTP 3 out of all of the other types of ESTP is the most charming, the one that comes across as very good at mesmerizing other people, catching their attention, inspiring other people as well, using that SE hero and FE child, and then bringing the Enneagram 3 ingredient. These people can be exceptionally good at inspiring others, making sure that they bring out the best in the people around them. They can be extremely charismatic leaders if they decide to go for leadership, where I don't know, sometimes they just exude these vibes of wanting to make other people join them, wanting to inspire other people to do great things with them. And this happens especially when the person develops and matures, when Enneagram 3 takes on some of the positive characteristics of type 6, becomes more loyal, more devoted to, I don't know, their coworkers, maybe the group they're leading, if they're leading any group, their friends, coworkers, family members, etc., etc. And I would say that this can become a very pronounced feature of the ESTP 3, especially during times of integration, development, and so on and so forth. And also at the beginning of this video, I said I'm going to give an honorable mention to Enneagram 6, because 6 is a type that can often be associated with a lot of different MBTI types. And here specifically, probably the sexual 6, the sexual instinctual variant of the 6, is the most common among ESTPs, because this is the counter type. So we are more likely to find a person that is a bit more careful, a bit more cautious than other ESTPs. But if, of course, we have the sexual instinctual variant or the one-on-one instinctual variant of the 6, this will still not be as pronounced as in other type 6 individuals. So this particular pairing might actually make the individual look slightly more socially introverted as compared to other ESTPs. The 3, the 7, and the 8 are all assertive types. So they are all very extroverted, socially speaking, at least in Enneagram terms. Whereas the Enneagram 6 ESTP will probably be the most reserved out of the other ESTPs, the most withdrawn. Also, this person is more likely to come across as an SJ type, and they might often mistype as a ISTJ, ESTJ, or even an ISTP sometimes, because of this social introversion. They might think is actually them being introverted in a cognitive sense as well. Okay, so these are my thoughts on the most common Enneagram types associated with the ESTP. 8, 7, and 3 are the ones that are consistently found as a core type and also as part of the tri-type, whereas Enneagram 6 is a type that also occurs, but is not particularly often as compared to the other ones. So, if you're an ESTP or you know someone who's an ESTP, what is your or their Enneagram type? I'm curious to know. So feel free to share that in the comment section below. And as always, thanks a lot for watching, thanks a lot for being with me, and see you next time with another video on typology.